friends, I'm Angel Randra Bhalerao. I'm studying in Podda International School in class 8. Today we are going to see the questions and answers of the lesson Dusk, written by Hector Munro. But before watching this video in detail, don't forget to subscribe my channel. So let's start. Dusk. Questions and answers. Question 1. What was the atmosphere at Hyde Park? The answer is, the whole atmosphere at Hyde Park was full of sadness, dusky. It was an early March evening at around 6:30, and there was not completely dark due to moonlight and street lamps, though there was an emptiness over the road and sidewalk. Even some people were moving here and there, while others were sitting on the bench and the chairs in the park. Their faces were hardly visible in the twilight. According to Godspeed, it was the time of dejected and disappointed people who would come to such a place to enjoy their solitariness. Question 2. Where did Godspeed sit? How does the narrator describe the dusk in and around the park? The answer is, Norman Godspeed sat on a bench in the almost deserted park. It was some 30 minutes past 6 on an early March evening, and dusk had fallen heavily over the scene, mitigated by some faint moonlight and many street lamps. Question 3. How does Norman Godspeed view dusk? The answer is, Norman Godspeed views dusk as the hour of the defeated. The people who had fought and lost came out at this time, so that their shabby clothes, broad shoulders and unhappy eyes might pass unnoticed and unrecognized by those who were successful. Question 4. Draw a profile of the person who sat near Godspeed on the bench. The answer is, it was an elderly gentleman who first sat near Godspeed on the bench. The man seemed to have lost interest in life. He looked dejected and disappointed, but refused to admit this fact. He was not wearing entirely shabby clothes, but one could not call them fine too. Even his physical appearance did not seem defective. It seemed that no one cared him. Perhaps he was in the dusk of his life. Question 5. How did the young man present himself as a genuine in his state? The answer is, the young man was educated as he sat on the bench and gained Godspeed's attention. He frankly stated that he had done the silliest thing in his life. His reference to the mix-up in hotel booking is of a genuine problem faced by travelers. His stepping out to buy an essential item such as a bar of soap lent further credence to the story. Thus, by blaming himself and behaving frankly, he presented himself as a genuine person. Question 6. Why had the young man have to book a room in an unknown hotel? The answer is, the young man had to book a room in an unknown hotel because the Patagonian hotel he had to come to lodge had been pulled down by a cinema theatre run upon its site. Question 7. What predicament was the young man in? The answer is, the young man had came to London with the intention of staying at the Patagonian hotel, but on arrival he discovered that it had been razed. He checked into another hotel and stepped out to buy a bar of soap. It seemed that he had forgotten to pack soap and hated using hotel soap. When he turned to go back, he didn't remember the name of the hotel and its location. He had just 2 pence left with him and had no friends or connection in London to lend him some money. Question 8. What kind of help is the young man looking for? The answer is, the young man is looking for a monetary help as he has no money and felt lost in the city. Question 9. Why did Godspeed think that the man was careless? The answer is, Godspeed thought that the man was careless because the man had lost the way to his hotel, didn't remember the street or the name of the hotel, and kept the cake of soap in a place unfamiliar to him? Question 10. What was the weak point in the man's story? The answer is, the weakest point in the man's story was that he could not produce the soap bought by him to prove to Mr. Godspeed that his story was genuine. Question 11. Did Godspeed believe young man's story? Why? The answer is, Godspeed didn't believe the young man's story. However, he wanted to see how far the young man would act or talk to prove his point and get some sympathy or money. So, he casually narrated an incident where he and a friend had lost their way in a foreign capital, but somehow managed to go back to their hotel by remembering that it was near a canal. Question 12. What did Godspeed concluded on finding the soap by the bench? The answer is, Godspeed linked the young stranger's story and the bar of soap together and concluded that the soap had fallen out of the youth's overcoat pocket when he flung himself down on the bench. Question 13. How did the young man fool Godspeed? The answer is, Godspeed realized that the young man was out to extract money from him and hence refused the young man a loan. However, after the young man left hurriedly, Godspeed found a bar of soap lying next to the bench and thought it was the young man's. He ran and caught up with the young man, apologized and gave him the soap and £1, that is, one sovereign. The young man, who looked hostile, suddenly looked surprised, friendly and thankful. He hastily took the money and Godspeed's address and fled the scene. When Godspeed walked past the park bench, the elderly gentleman was searching for his bar of soap. It was then that Godspeed realized that he had been fooled by the young man. Question 14. Describe in short the various thoughts and feelings of Norman Godspeed from the beginning to the end of the story. Dusk. The answer is, Norman Godspeed didn't have a positive opinion of the general public or himself. His mood matched the dusk or the setting darkness. He saw honest, hard-working people walking past him as the defeated. He made conclusions about the old gentleman sitting next to him without knowing anything about him. He disbelieved that the young stranger's story, but took pleasure to prove him wrong. On finding the soap, he is elated that the young man was telling the truth, but feels guilty that he didn't help him. He hastens to hand over the soap and money to the young man. He chides himself for judging the young man too quickly, but realizes that he has been fooled when the old gentleman comes back looking for the soap. Question 15. Do you think Dusk is an appropriate title for the story? The answer is yes. Dusk is an appropriate title for the story. Dusk is the part of the day when the light is dim and murky. It is the time of the day when all living things are hurrying to go back home or find a safe place before nightfall or darkness. For Norman, dusk is the hour of the defeated, and it provides cover to those who are hiding their shabby clothes, bowed shoulders and unhappy eyes, which means dusk offers the shadowing required to hide their failures. At the end of the story, it is seen that Norman has fallen victim to one of the successes which prove Norman to be one of the people of Dusk. The title Dusk not only describes the part of the setting, but it also describes the figurative partial darkness of Norman's trust in the mankind. So it is an appropriate title. Question 60. Why do you think the young man built a story around a bar of soap? The answer is, a young man was a master at spinning tales to extract money from people. The reason why the young man built a story around the bar of soap could be as follows. It is quite common for people to have preference for everyday items of uses It is quite common for people to have preference of everyday items of use like shampoos, towels, soaps, etc. A bar of soap is a very normal and common reason for people to go shopping. Okay friends, these were the questions and answers of the lesson, The Dusk. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, then hit the like button, share with your friends, and if you have any suggestions for me, please write in the comment box. Bye. Have a good day. Thanks for watching my video.